I was 16 years old, working minimum wage jobs on and off, and by the time I was 18, I had $10,000 saved. I thought I was ready, so I started my first business, and it failed terribly. This video breaks down every mistake I made with that business so that you don't have to make them too. If you're hungry, you want to win, and you're young, just pay attention and you'll get some value out of this. Let's get into mistake number 1, which was buying way too much inventory. I wasted a ton of money buying clothes that kind of just sat around, didn't make sales or anything. What I should have done in this case was to structure it in a way where there was pre-orders so that, let's say there was a minimum of 10 pre-orders. Once there was 10 pre-orders, then I would place the official order and start fulfilling those orders. Don't mind those boxes back there. It's for another business. Mistake 2, I gave away free shit for way too long. Giving away free things is an amazing business tactic when you are giving it to the right people. There were a lot of people that I just kind of knew in my life that I was giving away free shit to that most likely weren't gonna become a returning customer. It's a little weird, but it works better with strangers that might actually associate with your business rather than friends who associate with you instead of the business. Mistake number 3, and this one is probably the worst one out of all of them. My ads were a mess. This is where I burned the most money. I didn't do split testing. I didn't have a target audience. I didn't have a budget. My ad copy wasn't right. I didn't know what I was doing. And I kept trying to figure out because I was very determined, but I didn't actually do any research. Mistake 4 is I spent time and money on the wrong things. Too much on packaging, too much on branding, too much on stickers, too much on influencer marketing without choosing the right influencers. My focus was spread very thin. There's a rule that many people should be using when they start a business, a brand new business. That's 80% of your effort should be going into sales and the other 20% can go into whatever you'd like branding or building software or getting office decorations. But that 80% should be used on sales. And I did the opposite. Let's do another angle. You want to get up close and personal, baby? All right, I'll hold you. Mistake number 5, I believed that the product would sell itself, which nowadays is not a thing. Maybe in like the 50s that was a thing when people were selling cigarettes and maybe you saw a few car advertisements. The product is not going to sell itself nowadays. The market is so saturated, which doesn't mean that it's not going to work. It just means you have a bigger crowd to push through and you need to understand how to position yourself more, because if you don't, you're inevitably going to fail. This is where focus plays a huge role. And speaking of focus, if you're trying to grow a business or you're even a student in class and you're trying to stay more focused, go to the first link in the description and take the Fueled Core quiz. That quiz will help you figure out what supplements you lack so that you can get them from Fueled Core directly and increase your focus and energy. I've been using them and I felt way more locked in. Right now I'm taking 5-HTP, Ginkgo biloba, Alpha Energy, and my Brain and Focus formula, which is essentially a beefed up multivitamin. Click the first link in the description and go take your free quiz. Let's go back over here. Next mistake, I didn't track anything. I had that $10,000. I didn't track where it was going. I didn't track how much I spent on ads. I didn't have a budget. I didn't track how much was going in inventory. All this tracking would have made a difference because at the end of the day, you cannot fix what you cannot see. If you don't know the problem, you won't be able to fix the problem. Number 7, no clear audience equals no clear goals. My brand name was Blessed Apparel. I don't even know if I believed in God that much at the time. It felt like an empty brand. So brand name was no good. And that general brand name wouldn't resonate with many people. For example, I never picked an avatar that I would be selling to. Who's this for? What do they care about? Why would they want this? What are the problems they're facing? There was no roadmap there. So that's also where a lot of the money was lost in advertising. That was just a supporting factor. Number 8, the brand wasn't niche enough at all. Similar to what I just mentioned, I stuck with the general term, which means my ad never really went out to anybody. It was kind of like this broad spectrum of people who weren't receiving it the way they were supposed to. But if you did want to stick to the general way of doing things, you would still have to pick a target audience. For example, lawyers. If it was a clothing brand, hey, you want to get out of that suit, buy this ultra comfortable hoodie for only X dollars or whatever. Or if it was people who go to the gym, in the ad copy, you could say something like your perfect rest day hoodie, because then you're targeting a certain type of person, even though your brand is a general brand. You get the idea. And my final mistake, I didn't make enough content. I should have been on Instagram more, should have been making trendy skits and reels or whatever, trying to find the trends, because nowadays that's how you market properly and that's how you could really blow up a brand. The most that I did was giveaways, but what that bring was people who literally just followed for a chance of free shit and never engaged with the business ever again. So where would I be if I did it all right? Who knows? Who can tell the future? Maybe I would have had a warehouse, a small warehouse. But we don't dwell on what we missed out on. We dwell on what we gained. I'm not mad about it. The brand flopped. I was 18 years old. How much of a business guru could I possibly have been at the time? That brand failing showed me what focus really is. And ever since then, I've been learning from my mistakes. And that was the biggest one. But if you want a list of business ideas, you can start with $3. Click the second link in the description. If you're not ready to start a business and still need to get your shit together, watch this video right here. It's only a minute long. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.